Welcome to How to Deal with Medusa Records in AL. Hey, I'm Eric, and sure, this time we're gonna do a Greek mythology clickbait. So, what is a Medusa record? Well, the legend of Medusa is, of course, that if you looked at her, look, I think you looked her in the eyes, something like that. If you look at her, the lady with the snakes for hair, you would turn into stone. As soon as you looked at her, you're dead. It's a pretty nasty deal, but in reality, sometimes we can have the same thing in even in Business Central. This is something that is very rare these days, but sometimes back in the Stone Age, when we had the native database and the database got corrupted because of hardware failure or whatever, you could end up in a situation where as soon as you got near a certain record, a Medusa record, Navision would crash, or Dynamics Nav, whatever version it was, would crash, dead in the water. So it's kind of the same thing. As soon as you try to look at something, you're dead. It so happened that right now there's a bug in Business Central, and this video is totally not about the bug. Maybe it's already fixed by the time this video comes out, but right now there's a bug, and the bug is a Medusa record, because as soon as you get near that record, Business Central dies. Let's see if we can find it, and then let's see if we can figure out where it is without looking at it. Maybe there's more than one, and yeah, let's take a look. So here's a fresh extension, and the record / records in question is in the report data items table, which is funny enough, that's a virtual table, so it's kind of in memory version, and without really knowing it, my guess is that there's a relationship between how a virtual table is kept in memory and the old native database, but this is just me guessing. Anyway, so let's do this simple thing. So we'll do Medusa dot find set, then repeat until Medusa next equals 0, and I think that's it. Let's run this magnificent, and I'm just realizing now that maybe we need to grab a different number range, because I can't remember if I actually cleaned up this Docker before I started this. So we're publishing the app, and we gotta log in. That's fair enough. So now it's running. Getting started is what is shown when you ask to run a page before a page has been brought up to screen. So like this on open page, if you run that from not when you click on something and you open it, but if you run as the first page at all, getting started is what we're getting, and boom, see that? Business Central crashed, and we ran this on the debugger, and the debugger just disconnected because Business Central crashed. So that's the bug. But the only thing we did was we did a find set, and then we looped over that. We can try another thing, and this I actually have no idea if this will work or not. We can do a message and do medusa.count. See, sometimes this will work, sometimes it won't. And you probably need to log in every time because we never actually got in. Boom, count also fails, right? So as soon as you do something that includes this record, as soon as you glance at it, boom, you're dead. So what do we do? So full disclosure, this I ran into this because one of our apps, the advanced cloud security app that does fancy security, looks through this table to figure out where to apply security, and suddenly it just start dying, and didn't know what to do. So what do we actually do here? Because as soon as we get anywhere near that record or those records, Business Central dies. So this is what I came up with. Let me show you. So let's create a new table and call this Medusa, because hey, we are running a theme here. And let's create a table with some fields. It's kind of a good thing, right? Field 1, a report. So we can go with a report ID. Field 2, and here's the idea. So we'll create a status field. That should be an option. And option members should be, Medusa or no Medusa. Those are good options, right? And the keys of this should be the report ID. So we just want to fill out this. Let's actually do it like this. That's better. So now we have a table. So the idea is that we want to populate this table with a list of what reports has Medusa in it and what reports do not have Medusa in it. But we die as soon as we find Medusa. So what I want to do is that clearly we cannot touch Medusa here, because if we touch Medusa here, we're dead. But we can touch all objects. We can touch the object. So if we do a set object type to reports.object type report, so we can do reports.find set, then repeat until reports next equals 0. So for sure we can loop through the reports, and then does this report have Medusa? How do we do that? And here's the idea I came up with. Let's create a code unit. Create a code unit. Medusa detector. And we will have this code unit to run on the, so we go table IDs, all objects, and then do an on run trigger. So in theory we could say, okay, code unit dot run Wow. Code unit Medusa detector, comma reports, right? Something like that. And in here we could then take our code saying Medusa, and that was the report data item, and we can do Medusa, then we'll put a filter here, right? Medusa dot set range report ID comma rec dot object ID, and then do Medusa dot find set, then repeat until Medusa next. Wow, it's not a good typing day today. Medusa next equals 0. And we could try to say if code unit run. So if this one succeeds, then we're happy, right? So let's try this. Let's see what happens. Because code unit.run should encapsulate and catch errors, right? But it doesn't, because as soon as we see the Medusa record, our session is dead. So this won't work. But what if we then say, okay, how about we just do a session? So we need a session ID variable. What about if we do a session per record? So code unit Medusa detector, company name, reports. So we run the Medusa's detector in per report in a session. Then if the session dies, that's okay, but if that happens, we could do this and we say medusa.init, medusa.report ID is rec.object ID, and Medusa status, what do we call the field? We called the field, sorry, not Medusa. Wow, there's too many. What did we call this table? We call that one. So maybe we should actually say that this is the report data entry instead. Wow. RTI, and then we create the Medusa record here. Oh. So that was too many variables named the same thing. That's taken care of. So this one we have status, and then we say Medusa dot status equal, here is Medusa. Medusa dot insert. And maybe we need, because I'm probably going to need to run this multiple times, so let's make sure that we delete everything to begin with. This was not report ID, it's called report ID. Okay, so the idea is following. We will run a session for every report in the system, right? And then we will, at the beginning of that, we will insert a record saying, here is Medusa. We will commit that to the database, but because we're in a separate session, we're actually committing per report, right? And if we succeed, mean that we have not run into this one, we can go back and say Medusa status is no Medusa, and then we will modify the thing. There's one more thing, but let's see how far we get with this. I think start session will break. I think we might start too many sessions, and BC will puke at me for, I don't know how many reports are there in base app. There's a few. And maybe not. So this takes more time because now we have to log in. Something still broke. Too bad. What we can do, by the way, let's actually try something here. Let's see if we got something. So table equal one like this. I think we finally get a chance to log in. See, so we ran this in a lot of places. No Medusa, everything's great. Oh, see this? So 1304 and 1305 have Medusa Records in them. Maybe it ran to the end. It looks like it ran to the end. Did we still have some weird code here? No. So what I was talking about was that start session can fail. And if we just give it a bit of breathing room, like sleep for something like that, after each start session, then it seems to go away. But if you spam background sessions, and I think in the cloud, this is a Docker sandbox, it might be more friendly than a cloud sandbox, but nonetheless, we did detect where she's hiding. She's actually hiding in two different places. Don't ask me why this is broken. That's a Microsoft thing. But now, if in my case, after doing this and storing this, then I could instruct my code to saying, hey, if you get anywhere near those two reports, stay away, because Medusa is hiding there. So what did we do? We kind of took advantage of the fact that that we can write a session, we can commit in a session. So we start by saying, for each report, she's here, and then if we don't see her, then we change our mind to, hey, she's not here. So that's your weekly Greek mythology lesson with a twist of AL code. I'm pretty sure there's way more AL hacking in this video, so go check that one out. It's a good one. I'll see you there. Take care. Bye.